Okay, Mr. Z here in the gym to finish your pre-testing, your exercises. So you can see on my screen that you're making sure that you did your push-ups the other day. You did your line hops, jumping over the line, facing the same direction. Each one counted as one. You recorded it, and I'm going to zoom out and show you where I recorded my scores. I went here, I put 205, and I put numbers. So when you take this picture, this frame here, you click on here, you go to ellipses, you go export as image if you're using Miro. If you're using other things, it can be easier or harder, but you could always take a screenshot and save it. So you do control print screen. So now I'm going to be showing you some new things. Make sure you're using that yellow rubric thing over on the left that I was talking about, that checklist, I'm going to call it, and using that rubric. So now we're doing wall sits, and I'm going to do very simplified versions. Quick, I'm not going to go as hard as I can. The new one, so this would be wall sits, 90-degree angle, holding, not using your hands. You would have a timer. Oh man, I did 1 minute. So as you could see right here on the screen, I got a score of, if I did 1 minute exactly, it would be a score of 3. If I was less than a minute, score of 2. So next, we're going to do a bonus, and you don't have to do this. Be careful not to go too fast. This one is best if you have a partner, but if you need, 1 second, sheet of paper. And as you know, standard sheet of paper is 8.5 by 11, 11 being the long way. So you would go down, not using your hands, starting in the low position. Let me adjust the screen. And we're measuring, and you raise up. And if you are above paper, you have a certain score on that rubric. If you're lower, you can mark on the paper, or it'd be best if a partner would mark on the paper. If you're clearly lower than an 11, you could use this side, and it would give you a better frame of reference. If you would like, you could take a picture right there and you could prove, but I don't expect for anyone to do that. But if you want to prove that you did it to yourself on your own Miro page or whatever. Next, from floor to chin, mark your score past your heels. We're on the new number 4. So we have, it's gonna be tricky to show with one person here. Okay, knees, don't hurt yourself. Zoom out just a little bit. You have your feet about 1 foot apart, one large hand spread or 1 foot apart. Knees, and you have your hand over hand. You put it down, and this is the mark of which you're trying to cross. So if you could see, I'm going to use this line as the marker. And I have the ruler starting, we did this last year, a bunch of you. 0 is closest to you. And fingers on fingers, you have your finger on the closest spot to the end as possible. And there's other ways you can do this. You could slide your fingers over, but I like to use it like this and slide on the floor. Don't mark up the floor. Be careful where you do it. It's nice, it's a flat surface, and you're pushing gently. Don't jerk, or you could hurt yourself. And as you can see, if I zoom in, I just went past going this way, past the black line. So that means I'm going to receive a positive score. And I could go harder, but I'm just showing you for the sake of argument. So you could measure here. I did about 2 inches past my heels. So if you're negative, it should be an easy thing to figure out. Once again, feet, black, mark things down, you push, and whatever number you see that intersects with the black line, where I'm trying to go. Don't want to make you dizzy. So you gotta take my word on this, I'm about 5.5 right there, negative. So I'd mark it as clearly negative. So if you need to write the word NEG or an N in front of it, that would probably be helpful. Next, we're doing wall jumps. So I would get something kind of sticky. It would help if you got something like a Post-it note, something like that. If you can't find anything, you can't find a roll of tape, something that's not too strong, you would put the sticky side on the outside, you'd make a loop, go around the finger, all that type of jazz. Apologies about that, there was an announcement. So I'm going to put this down after I get my cart so I stop making you so dizzy. And I have the sticky side on the outside. I'm holding it. You can do a bunch of different ways. And you would have a wall. Make sure that there's nothing dangerous below, all that jazz. Standing sideways, you can stand forward, feet together. Your job is not to run into it. Your job is to go. I'm not going to show you how to do it because I want you to improve your score. It's stuck on the wall, and you would then need a base score. So you get score here, and you can measure. You can put your fingers on the wall. You can have someone help. You could have another Post-it, and you would measure that distance between. So if you have a ruler, if you have a mobile app, which I found, which is called Measure, it worked very well. There's a bunch of ways you can do that. If you go by your hand, I would see that you would put your hand up here and you could measure the distance. In class, during non-remote time, this would be much simpler, but you can take your time doing it this way. And you would take a picture if you would like. There's a bunch of different ways you could do that. I would recommend using the laptop camera. So searching in the bottom, you would type in camera, and you can see a camera pop up and you'll be able to see it go back onto me. Because I'm using it for this thing, you'll see a camera come back at you, or you could use a cellular camera and send it to yourself. There's a bunch of options. Next, standing out. So this one I renamed from last year because students were having difficulties. I'm going to show you the advantage of having rulers, but I don't expect anyone to have a ruler. Like I said, you could use that measuring app. You're standing at the line, both be together, and you're jumping as far as you can. If you would like, you could put something down and measure where you landed, but it is to the shortest distance from the line. So you're not going from the toe, you would be going from the heel, and you would land soft, record that score on your Miro, on your word, on the options. Thank you, and I hope that saves a lot of questions.